What if the problem is not that you lack time, talent, or discipline? What if the real problem is that your best hours never belong to you? Most people wake up already tired. The phone lights up. Messages, news, noise. Before the day even begins, attention is gone. Life feels reactive, busy, yet strangely empty. We work hard, but something feels off. Progress is slow. Focus is shallow. Energy leaks everywhere. This book begins with a simple but uncomfortable idea. The way you start your morning quietly decides the quality of your life. The 5 a.m. Club is written by Robin Sharma. He is known for blending personal mastery, leadership, and inner growth into practical ideas. This book is not really about waking up early. That is just the surface. At its core, it asks a deeper question. How do ordinary people build extraordinary lives in a distracted world? The story follows 3 characters, 2 lost professionals and 1 mysterious mentor. Through their journey, the book explores discipline, focus, creativity, and meaning. But it does not lecture, it shows. It nudges you to reflect on your own habits and excuses. Why does this book matter today? Because attention is under attack, because burnout is normal, because most people live on autopilot while calling it ambition. This book offers a countercultural idea. Real success is built quietly, before the world wakes up. Several themes run through the entire book. First, self-mastery comes before outer success. Control your morning, and you begin to control your mind. Second, small daily rituals shape identity. You do not rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. Third, focus is the new wealth. In a noisy world, the ability to concentrate becomes a superpower. Fourth, energy matters more than time. A focused hour beats a distracted day. And finally, success without meaning is hollow. Achievement must connect to purpose, service, and inner peace. This is not a book to read once and forget. It is designed to challenge your comfort. It invites you to question how you spend your first moments each day. Those moments are not neutral. They either strengthen you or drain you. As we move chapter by chapter, do not listen passively. Ask yourself hard questions. Where is your attention going? What rituals are shaping you? What kind of person are your mornings training you to become? This is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming intentional. If you are ready, let us step into the story. Chapter 1. A strange meeting before dawn. What happens when effort no longer brings progress? That is where this story begins. The 2 main characters arrive at a breaking point. They are not lazy, they are not careless. They have done what society told them to do. Work harder, stay busy, push through fatigue, say yes more often. And yet, something feels wrong. The entrepreneur built a business that looks impressive from the outside. Revenue exists, the calendar is full, but the cost is constant anxiety. Sleep is shallow. Mornings begin with emails and emergencies. Every day feels like damage control. He is moving fast, but going nowhere. The artist once had momentum. Ideas came easily. Confidence felt natural. Over time, comparison crept in. Bills piled up. Fear replaced curiosity. Mornings now begin late and rushed. Creativity feels forced. The work feels heavy. Both share the same quiet thought. Maybe this is just how adulthood feels. Tired, distracted, slightly disappointed. They attend a seminar early in the morning, not because they believe in it, because they have tried everything else. This matters. Change rarely begins with inspiration. It often begins with frustration. Then the mentor walks in. He does not shout, he does not hype, he does not sell quick wins. His presence feels different, calm, grounded, almost inconveniently confident. He makes a bold claim. Most people do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because they never own their mornings. This idea lands with resistance. Waking early sounds impractical, even unhealthy. The characters push back. They mention long nights, family duties, stress. The mentor listens. Then he asks a question that reframes everything. If your life feels chaotic, why do you begin each day in chaos? That question lingers. The mentor explains that mornings are not just a time slot, they are a psychological foundation. The first hour trains the mind how to behave. If the day starts reactive, the brain learns reaction. If the day starts focused, the brain learns leadership. This is not about productivity hacks, it is about identity conditioning. The characters realize something uncomfortable. They wake up to other people's priorities, messages, news, requests, problems. Their best mental energy is spent responding instead of creating. The mentor challenges them again. If you do not protect your focus early, you will not find it later. This chapter matters because it attacks a common lie, the idea that you will focus later, that you will live intentionally once things calm down. They never do. The deeper lesson is subtle. Discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect in action. Waking early is not the goal, ownership is the goal. The mentor shares that discomfort is a signal. When an idea triggers excuses, it often points to growth. The mind protects familiarity, not potential. The characters feel exposed. They expected tactics, they got a mirror. This meeting creates tension for a reason. It forces a decision: stay comfortable and unchanged, or feel uncomfortable and grow. The chapter ends without resolution, just a question hanging in the air. What would happen if you stopped outsourcing your mornings to the world? Key takeaway: your mornings are shaping you whether you notice or not. And with that unease planted, the story moves forward, toward the man behind the philosophy and the life that made him believe in it.
Chapter 2: The Billionaire with No Name. Why would someone who has everything choose to disappear? The mentor finally reveals part of his past. He is not a motivational speaker. He is not a guru chasing attention. He is a man who once stood at the peak of conventional success: global businesses, media praise, wealth that removed all practical limits. Then he walked away. This confuses the characters, and it should. Society teaches a simple equation: more money equals more freedom, more recognition equals more meaning. The mentor challenges that belief without bitterness or drama. He explains that success gave him comfort, but not clarity. His days were full, yet hollow. His mind was sharp, but restless. He had influence over markets, but little control over his own attention. That realization matters. Many people chase achievement believing fulfillment will follow automatically. The book argues the opposite. Fulfillment must be designed. Otherwise, success amplifies emptiness. The mentor chose anonymity to reclaim something more valuable than fame: inner quiet, deep focus, a sense of alignment between values and actions. He introduces a powerful idea. Real wealth has invisible components: time autonomy, physical vitality, emotional steadiness, creative freedom, peace of mind. If one of these is missing, money becomes a weak substitute. The characters resist this at first. Walking away sounds extreme. The mentor clarifies: you do not need to quit your life, you need to redesign how you live inside it. He explains that early mornings became his anchor during his rise. While others slept, he trained his mind. While the world was quiet, he worked on what mattered most. That habit did not just build results, it built identity. This chapter reframes ambition. The goal is not to escape work. The goal is to work from a place of strength instead of exhaustion. The mentor shares a hard truth. Many high performers are secretly fragile. Their success depends on constant motion. Remove the noise and they feel lost. Morning discipline builds internal stability. You become harder to shake. The idea of anonymity symbolizes something deeper: detachment from ego, from applause,
from comparison. The mentor stopped asking, "How am I seen?" and started asking, "How am I living?" This matters because most people measure progress externally: titles, income, likes. The book invites a quieter metric. Are you becoming calmer, stronger, and more focused over time? The characters begin to see the shift. The mentor is not anti-success. He is anti-hollow success. Key takeaway: if your definition of wealth ignores peace, focus, and vitality, it will eventually collapse. This chapter deepens the mystery. If mornings helped build a life worth walking away from, what exactly happens during those early hours?
Chapter 3. Why Mornings Shape Destiny. Why do the smallest hours carry the biggest weight? The mentor begins with a simple observation. Human energy is not evenly distributed. Your brain is sharpest before the world floods it with noise. Willpower is strongest before decisions drain it. Creativity flows best before urgency kills curiosity. Mornings are not magical, they are strategic. He explains that most people wake into consumption: news, messages, social feeds, other people's problems. This trains the brain to respond instead of lead. Over time, reaction becomes a habit. Life feels busy but directionless. Early mornings flip this pattern. In silence, the mind slows down. Thoughts line up. Priorities become visible. This is not about doing more. It is about doing the right things before distraction hijacks attention. The mentor connects this to neuroscience. Stress hormones peak when life feels rushed and unpredictable. Calm, intentional routines reduce mental noise. The brain learns safety. From safety comes focus. From focus comes mastery. The characters question sustainability. Can waking early last long term? The mentor answers honestly. At first, it feels painful. That pain is withdrawal from distraction. The brain is used to stimulation. Silence feels uncomfortable because it reveals unfinished thoughts. This discomfort matters. Avoiding silence keeps people stuck. Facing it builds clarity. He shares that history quietly supports this idea. Many thinkers, leaders, and creators protected their mornings, not out of discipline obsession, but out of respect for deep work. Mornings shape destiny because they shape identity. Repeated actions signal who you believe you are. When you wake early to work on your mind and body, you tell yourself you matter. The mentor reframes sacrifice. You are not giving up sleep. You are trading late-night distractions for early morning purpose. The characters begin to understand that exhaustion often comes from mental clutter, not effort. Clearing the mind early prevents decision fatigue later. This chapter matters because it removes mysticism. Early mornings are not about willpower, they are about leverage. Small inputs, large outcomes. Key takeaway: the quality of your focus in the morning determines the quality of your decisions all day. Now the question becomes practical. What exactly should you do in that first hour? Chapter 4. The Victory Hour Explained. What if the first 60 minutes of your day decide the next 16 hours? The mentor introduces a core idea. The first hour after waking acts like a psychological compass. It sets direction, emotion, pace. Most people let this hour disappear into noise. That is why their days feel scattered. He calls this hour the victory hour, not because it guarantees success, because it gives you control before the world starts demanding it. The mentor explains momentum. The brain loves patterns. When the day starts with intention, the mind stays aligned. When the day starts with chaos, the mind stays defensive. This is not motivation, it is conditioning. The characters realize something uncomfortable. They treat mornings casually, yet expect excellence later. That mismatch creates frustration. The victory hour is not about squeezing tasks. It is about preparing the instrument, your body, your mind, your emotional state. Athletes warm up before competition. Most professionals skip this step and wonder why performance suffers. The mentor emphasizes privacy. This hour must be protected, No messages, no meetings, no news. Not because the world is bad, but because it is loud. Creativity and clarity need quiet. He explains that this hour compounds. One focused morning improves the day. Repeated mornings improve the year. Over time, identity shifts. You stop feeling behind. The characters worry about practicality, families, jobs, late nights. The mentor responds with a principle. You do not need perfect conditions. You need a non-negotiable window, even if small. This chapter matters because it introduces structure without rigidity. The victory hour is a container. What you put inside determines the value. Key takeaway: win the first hour and you stop chasing the rest of the day. Now, the structure inside that hour is revealed. Simple, balanced, powerful. Chapter 5: The 20-20-20 Formula. What should you actually do when you wake up early? This is where the book shifts from philosophy to practice. The mentor introduces a simple structure for the victory hour. 60 minutes divided into 3 equal parts. Each part serves a different psychological purpose. Together, they prepare the whole human being. The formula is not random. It follows how the brain and body wake up. Energy first, clarity second, growth third. The first 20 minutes are for movement, not light stretching, intense physical activity. The goal is to sweat. When you move hard, stress chemicals leave the body, endorphins rise, the mind sharpens. You are not exercising for fitness alone, you are clearing mental fog. The second 20 minutes are for reflection, silence, writing, thinking, planning. This is where you regain authorship of your life. You decide what matters before the world decides for you. The final 20 minutes are for learning, reading, listening, studying. This is how you stay mentally relevant in a fast-changing world. The power of this structure lies in balance. Most people focus on only one area. They work on skills but ignore health, or they journal but neglect learning. This formula integrates body, mind, and future growth. The characters initially see this as overwhelming. The mentor reframes it. You already spend 60 minutes scrolling, worrying, or rushing. This simply redirects that time toward intention. He emphasizes sequence. Movement comes first because clarity follows energy. Reflection comes second because a calm mind plans better. Learning comes last because the brain absorbs more after activation and focus. This matters because many routines fail due to poor design. They fight human nature instead of working with it. The mentor also highlights flexibility. The exact activities can change. The principle remains: move, reflect, grow. Over time, this hour becomes an anchor. Even on chaotic days, you know you have invested in yourself. That creates emotional stability. Key takeaway: a powerful life is built by addressing your body, your mind, and your future every single day. Now the mentor goes deeper: why movement comes first and why it matters more than most people think. Chapter 6: Move to ignite the brain. Why does the day begin with sweat instead of thought? The mentor explains a truth most people ignore. The mind does not operate well in a neglected body. When stress accumulates physically, clarity suffers mentally. Intense movement in the morning acts like a mental reset. During deep exercise, the body releases stress hormones that build up during sleep and anxiety. At the same time, it produces chemicals linked to optimism, focus, and learning. This is not motivational talk, it is biology. The characters notice that on days they move, problems feel smaller, decisions feel lighter, creativity returns. The mentor confirms this is not coincidence. Movement also builds identity. When you do something hard first thing, you train courage. The brain learns that discomfort is survivable. This transfers into work, conversations, and risk-taking. The mentor reframes exercise. It is not about appearance. It is about performance.
A strong body supports a calm mind. A calm mind makes better choices. He also addresses resistance. Mornings feel stiff, energy feels low. That is exactly why movement belongs there. Action creates energy. Waiting for motivation keeps people stuck. This chapter matters because many routines start with thinking, but thinking without energy leads to overthinking. Movement grounds the mind in the present. The mentor advises simplicity, no gym required, body weight, running, skipping, anything that elevates heart rate. Consistency matters more than intensity. The goal is daily activation, not perfection. Key takeaway: when you move your body first, your mind follows. Once energy is unlocked, the mentor turns inward, towards silence, reflection, and self-leadership.
Chapter 7. Reflect to regain control. What happens when you finally sit with your own mind? After movement comes silence. This is where many people struggle the most. The mentor explains that reflection is not optional if you want clarity. Without reflection, life becomes reaction. Days pass, weeks blur. You stay busy, but direction fades. The second 20 minutes are about slowing down on purpose, journaling, breathing, thinking, planning, not to escape reality, but to face it honestly. Most people avoid silence because it exposes unfinished thoughts, regrets, fears, confusion. The mentor reframes this discomfort. What you avoid controls you. What you face shapes you. Writing becomes a key tool here. Putting thoughts on paper drains mental noise. Problems shrink when they are named. Goals become real when written. The characters begin to see patterns in their thinking they never noticed before. Reflection is also about values. What actually matters today? What deserves energy? Without this step, urgency replaces importance. You spend your best hours solving other people's priorities. The mentor introduces intentional planning, not long to-do lists, just clarity. 1 to 3 meaningful outcomes for the day. This keeps focus narrow and execution clean. There is also an emotional layer: gratitude, forgiveness, self-honesty. These practices stabilize mood and reduce anxiety. A calm emotional state improves decision quality. This chapter matters because self-awareness is a multiplier. 2 people can work the same hours. The one who reflects grows faster. Reflection is not passive. It is leadership turned inward. Key takeaway: when you lead your mind in silence, your actions gain direction. With energy activated and clarity restored, the final part of the hour looks forward, toward learning and future relevance.
Chapter 8. Learn to stay relevant. What if talent is not what secures your future? The mentor explains that the world does not reward potential, it rewards adaptation. Skills age quickly. Industries shift. What protects you is learning speed. The final 20 minutes of the victory hour are dedicated to growth. Reading, listening, studying, not randomly, intentionally. This is not casual consumption. It is deliberate input. Ideas that stretch thinking, skills that compound, perspectives that challenge comfort. The characters realize a painful truth. They spend hours consuming shallow content, but call it relaxation. The mentor clarifies: rest is important. Mindless stimulation is not rest. Learning early in the day works because the brain is alert and uncluttered. Retention improves. Insight deepens. Over time, this habit creates intellectual confidence. The mentor shares that leaders read, creators study, innovators explore beyond their field. Learning keeps the ego flexible. It reminds you that growth never ends. This chapter matters because many people rely on past education.
The book argues that self-education is now a survival skill. Learning also fuels creativity. New inputs create new combinations. Without fresh ideas, thinking becomes recycled. The mentor advises simplicity. A few pages, a short lesson. Consistency beats volume. Key takeaway: those who learn daily quietly outgrow those who rely on yesterday's skills. With the victory hour complete, the mentor zooms out. He explains why protecting focus matters more than ever. Chapter 9: The Tight Bubble of Total Focus. Why is focus so rare if it is so valuable? The mentor introduces a metaphor. Imagine your attention surrounded by a protective bubble. Inside it lives creativity, insight, and deep work. Outside it lives noise. Most people leave this bubble unguarded. Focus is not just a skill, it is a moral decision about what deserves your life energy. The mentor explains that modern distraction is engineered. Notifications, feeds, constant updates. Each one trains the brain to crave novelty. Over time, sustained attention feels uncomfortable. Early morning routines fail if focus is not defended throughout the day. The victory hour sets the tone. The bubble protects it. The characters notice how often they switch tasks. Each switch drains mental energy. Deep work requires uninterrupted time. That time must be scheduled and protected. The mentor encourages ruthless prioritization. Fewer tasks, deeper effort. Saying no without guilt. This chapter matters because without focus, routines collapse. Discipline without attention is fragile. The mentor reframes productivity. It is not about speed, it is about depth. Key takeaway: guard your attention or the world will spend it for you. From focus, the mentor shifts to balance, not between work and rest, but within the inner life itself. Chapter 10: The 4 Interior Empires. What if your outer results are only a reflection of your inner order? The mentor introduces one of the deepest ideas in the book. Every human life is governed by 4 internal empires: mindset, health, heart, soul. When these are strong, life flows. When one collapses, the others suffer. Most people invest heavily in one empire, usually work or intellect. The rest are neglected. This imbalance creates hidden fragility. The mindset empire governs thoughts, beliefs, and focus. If the mind is chaotic, success feels stressful. Morning routines strengthen this empire through clarity and intention. The health empire includes energy, sleep, movement, and nutrition. Without physical vitality, ambition becomes exhausting. The mentor reminds them that tired people make poor decisions. The heart empire represents emotions and relationships. Resentment, unresolved conflict, and lack of connection drain energy silently. Reflection and gratitude rebuild emotional strength. The soul empire is meaning, values, purpose, the sense that your work serves something beyond ego. Without this, achievement feels empty. This chapter matters because it reframes self-improvement as inner governance. You are not fixing flaws, you are leading a system. The mentor explains that early mornings feed all 4 empires at once. Movement strengthens health, reflection sharpens mindset, learning feeds the soul, quiet restores the heart. Balance here does not mean equal time, it means conscious care. Key takeaway: when your inner empires are aligned, outer success stops feeling heavy. With inner balance established, the mentor now emphasizes a quieter force, small actions repeated patiently. Chapter 11: Small Disciplines Shape Legendary Lives. Why do ordinary actions create extraordinary outcomes? The mentor shifts the conversation away from dramatic change. He focuses on something far less exciting, but far more powerful: daily consistency. Most people overestimate what they can change in a week and underestimate what they can change in a year. They look for breakthroughs. The mentor looks for rituals. He explains that success is rarely the result of one bold move. It is the quiet accumulation of small, disciplined acts. Waking early, moving daily, reflecting honestly, learning steadily. None of these impress in isolation. Together, they reshape a life. The characters struggle with impatience. They want visible results. The mentor counters with a biological truth. The brain rewires slowly. Identity shifts gradually. Progress feels invisible before it feels inevitable. He introduces the idea of self-trust. Every kept promise strengthens confidence. Every broken promise weakens it. Morning discipline becomes a daily vote for reliability. This chapter matters because it removes pressure. You do not need intensity, you need repetition. Legendary lives are built the same way muscles are built, through small stress applied consistently over time. Key takeaway: what you practice daily becomes who you are. With this foundation laid, the mentor turns to a threat that silently destroys discipline and depth. Chapter 12: The Real Cost of Distraction. Why does life feel busy but unfinished? The mentor now points to the enemy that quietly erodes everything built so far. Distraction. Not the obvious kind, the subtle kind that feels harmless. Constant checking, quick scrolling, background noise. These habits fragment attention. The brain never fully rests or fully focuses. It stays in a shallow state. The mentor explains that creativity requires depth. Insight requires stillness. When attention is constantly interrupted, thinking becomes surface level. You react well, but you do not reflect deeply. The characters realize how often they escape discomfort through distraction. A hard thought appears. A phone removes it. Over time, this avoidance weakens emotional resilience. Distraction also steals time invisibly, not hours at once, minutes scattered across the day. These fragments add up to lost clarity and delayed goals. The mentor reframes discipline. It is not about forcing productivity, it is about reducing mental leakage. This chapter matters because many people protect their schedules but ignore their attention. The book argues attention is the real currency. Key takeaway: what you give your attention to slowly becomes your life. With distraction addressed, the mentor shifts toward influence and leadership even without authority.
Chapter 13: Lead Without a Title. Who are you leading when no one is watching? The mentor introduces a radical idea. Leadership is not a position, it is a way of living. Most people wait for permission to lead, a promotion, a title, recognition. The mentor rejects this completely. He explains that real leadership begins internally. How you manage your time, how you manage your emotions, how you show up when no one is monitoring you. The characters initially think leadership means influence over others. The mentor reframes it. Influence over yourself always comes first. Without that, authority becomes fragile. Early mornings become symbolic here. Waking early is not about proving discipline to others. It is about integrity with yourself, doing the right thing when comfort tempts you otherwise. The mentor shares that people notice energy before they notice words. Calm confidence, clarity, reliability. These traits attract trust naturally. Morning routines cultivate these traits quietly. Leadership without a title also means craftsmanship, doing your work with care even when it goes unseen. The mentor argues that excellence is a form of respect for the work, for the people it serves, for yourself. This chapter matters because it removes excuses. You do not need power to lead. You need consistency. The characters begin to see leadership as presence, being fully there, listening deeply, acting thoughtfully. Key takeaway: You lead most powerfully by how you live, not by what you claim. From leadership, the mentor now addresses a practical concern: why change feels painful before it feels natural.
Chapter 14. The Habit Installation Protocol. Why does change feel hardest right before it works? The mentor explains that most people quit habits too early, not because the habit is wrong, because they misunderstand the process. He outlines 4 stages of habit installation. First comes destruction. Old routines break down. Comfort disappears. Energy dips. This stage feels chaotic. Next comes confusion. The new habit has not yet paid off. The old habit is gone. Motivation fluctuates. This is where most people quit. Then comes integration. The habit begins to fit. Resistance fades. Results appear quietly. Finally comes mastery. The habit feels natural. Identity shifts. You no longer force the behavior. You are the behavior. The characters recognize themselves in these stages. Their past failures suddenly make sense. This chapter matters because it normalizes struggle. Pain is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of rewiring. The mentor emphasizes patience. Habits do not install on the timeline of motivation. They install on the timeline of repetition. Key takeaway? Stay long enough in discomfort, and it turns into strength. With habits understood, the mentor reframes productivity entirely, away from time, toward energy. Chapter 15. Building a life around energy, not time. Why do some people manage the same hours but live very different lives? The mentor challenges a common belief. Time is not your most important resource. Energy is. You can have free hours and feel drained. You can have limited time and feel powerful. The difference is vitality. Most productivity systems focus on schedules. The mentor focuses on state. How you feel determines how you perform. Fatigued minds make reactive decisions. Energized minds create options. The characters realize they often blame time when the real issue is exhaustion. Poor sleep, no movement, constant mental noise. These quietly steal capacity. The mentor explains that early mornings work partly because they protect energy. Less noise, fewer demands, more control. You start the day full instead of depleted. Recovery becomes a strategy here. Sleep is not laziness, it is preparation. Rest is not indulgence, it is maintenance. This chapter matters because it removes guilt. Productivity is not about pushing harder, it is about sustaining strength. Key takeaway: when you manage energy well, time starts working for you. With performance reframed, the mentor moves towards something deeper, meaning that survives success and loss alike. Chapter 16. Wealth that cannot be taken. What remains when applause fades and achievements pass? The mentor speaks about legacy, not in terms of monuments or fame, in terms of who you become and how you serve. He explains that material success is fragile. Markets shift, health changes, circumstances collapse. What lasts is character, skill, inner peace, the ability to contribute. The characters realize that many people chase goals that look impressive but feel empty once achieved. The mentor calls this borrowed ambition, goals inherited from society instead of chosen consciously. True wealth includes wisdom, compassion, presence, the ability to be fully alive in ordinary moments. Early mornings become sacred here. They are moments of alignment, time spent strengthening what cannot be stolen. This chapter matters because it grounds ambition in humanity. Success without service feels hollow. Key takeaway: build a life that still feels rich when external rewards disappear.
The journey now approaches its symbolic end. One final morning, one final lesson.
Chapter 17. The Final Lesson at Sunrise. What does a transformed life actually look like? The story returns to the present. The characters meet the mentor one last time. This time, there is no tension, no resistance. Something has shifted. They are calmer, clearer, more grounded. Not because life became easy, because they became stronger. The mentor does not give a final tactic. He offers a reminder. Transformation is not dramatic. It is quiet. It shows up as steadiness under pressure, focus amid noise, grace in difficulty. They watch the sunrise together, symbolic but grounded. A new day does not guarantee a new life, but a new way of meeting the day can. The mentor steps away, not because he is finished teaching, because they no longer need him. The system now lives inside them. This chapter matters because it shows the outcome, not perfection, ownership. Key takeaway: when you change how you meet the morning, you change how you meet life. Now the journey closes, not with an ending, but with an invitation.
Conclusion. What does it really mean to wake up early? By the end of this journey, it becomes clear that the book was never about the clock. 5 in the morning is a symbol, a line between living reactively and living deliberately. The deeper message is simple but demanding. Your life does not change through information. It changes through identity, and identity is shaped by what you do consistently when no one is watching. The book argues that most people live at the mercy of their environment. Notifications decide attention, urgency decides priorities, comfort decides behavior. Early mornings interrupt that pattern. They create a small island of control in a noisy world. This matters culturally. We live in an age of speed, distraction, and exhaustion. Burnout is common. Focus is rare. Calm feels like a luxury. The 5 a.m. Club offers a counterpoint. Slow down first. Strengthen yourself first. Then engage the world from a position of clarity. Psychologically, the book leans on a powerful truth. Self-respect grows from kept promises. When you show up for yourself daily, confidence stops being fragile. Discipline becomes a form of kindness. There is also a philosophical layer. Time is not neutral. How you spend your first moments shapes how you experience meaning. Early mornings become a daily reminder that life is something you participate in, not something that happens to you. From everything we have explored, a few practical principles stand out. First, protect 1 hour each day for yourself. If mornings are impossible, find your quiet hour, but make it non-negotiable. Second, design rituals, not goals. Goals motivate briefly. Rituals reshape identity. Third, manage energy before managing time. Sleep, movement, and recovery are performance tools, not rewards. Fourth, defend your attention aggressively. What you focus on repeatedly becomes your reality. Finally, connect achievement to meaning. Success feels empty when it serves only ego. This book does not promise an easy life. It promises a stronger one. A life where clarity replaces chaos, where intention replaces drift, where discipline becomes freedom. So the real question is not whether you will wake up early tomorrow. The real question is this: what kind of life do you want to wake up to?